Hey, this video is for people over 40 who want to get strong, lean, and feel energized. And no matter what your starting point, you're going to get a ton of value from this video. We've coached hundreds of people with our Strong Over 40 framework, and I'm going to be sharing step by step what we do so you can action it yourself, or you might even during this video decide you want to learn more about working with us one-to-one. Either way, fantastic, and you're going to make loads of progress. So we're going to kick off by letting me convince you that you can do this. One of the biggest barriers that people face in their fitness goals and their commitment to them is their belief that they cannot do it. They don't believe they can stick to it. They worry that they are wasting their time, their effort, and their energy. And this normally stems from one of these four things. So they have tried and failed before. You might be one of these people. You might have spoken to people like this. Certainly some of our clients were like this initially, where they've tried everything. They've done every diet. They've done every exercise. We've even had people do the cabbage diet, or all the things, everything they've tried. And if none of them are stuck, it can leave you feeling a little bit insecure and not confident in your ability to be able to do it. The other one that seems to be a bit of a block is not sure where to start. Now, there is a lot of conflicting information out there on the internet. Some people are telling you to eat carnivore, for example, that diet. Other people are telling you have to fast. Other people saying you shouldn't do cardio. Other people saying you have to do it, but it's got to be in zone 2. All these things are actually completely overwhelming when you're starting and overcomplicating it. So having that overwhelm can be a reason why not to start. So this framework is going to keep it really nice and simple so we can just move past all of those things. The other one is previous bad coaching experiences. Again, I speak to people who end up coming with us who have had terrible coaching experiences before, whether the coach just didn't listen to them and apply it to their real life situation, or whether they've promised them the world and then just disappeared, given them a program and let them crack on with it. And the final one, which is the myth we are going to debunk, is feeling too old. So many times when I'm speaking to people, they say, well, I'm in my 40s. I know I'll never be as fit as when I was 20, or I know that I can't get that fit, or I can't be in that good a shape because of my age. And that, I have to say, is nonsense. I'm 40 myself, and I feel in the best shape that I've been in forever, I feel. And all of our clients are 40 plus, 40s, 50s, 60s even, and they get themselves into amazing shape and feeling great and strong as well. So your reassurance that you are never too old and that it is absolutely possible. And to further show you that, I'm going to show some real life examples of clients that we've worked with who have achieved it, and they're well into their 40s and beyond. So I'm going to go through step by step what it is that we do and how you can apply that to get your own successes with your fitness goals. So as promised, just going to talk over some of our clients. Vicky, who I'm currently working with, she came to me believing that nothing worked. She'd tried everything. She was working around a lot of injuries, many surgeries that she'd had previously. She tried lots of diets, and actually when she came to me, she was only eating 1,200 calories, believe it or not, and was really frustrated and obviously had not much energy. So she came to me, and we had a really good conversation, and I spoke about how this isn't a quick fix. It's not a magic diet that you suddenly go on and then everything is fixed. We fundamentally looked at relationship with food, making sure she was getting enough of the right foods to be able to get the most out of her training. She fully bought in, committed, really went for it. And so her initial goal was to lose body fat, which she did. She lost, you can see in the photo, she lost 11 kilograms of body fat. But as she was doing this and her relationship with food was getting better, she was eating more calories, she was enjoying the energy that comes with that as well, she decided that she wanted to get really strong. She was enjoying feeling strong, and now we've got her doing pull-ups, which she never believed she would do. She's doing dips, she's doing amazing things, and actually I'm having to watch my back a bit because she's getting too strong, getting competitive. But no, in seriousness, she's absolutely smashing it and just loving feeling strong, and she's nearly turning 50 and she's completely transformed there. Leslie there with a big smile on her face. She absolutely smashed it as well. Busy, working mum, and she loved her social life. I believe on our first call we spoke quite a lot about gin and like enjoying that at the weekends. But she did realise she wasn't happy with her physique and how she felt, and having energy crashes and just being stuck in this cycle of energy crash in the afternoon, have sugar, and so on and so forth. So she wanted that balance without giving up her social life, but then also getting in great shape. And as you can see, she smashed it. She lost over 20 centimetres off her waist and just feeling stronger and fitter than ever. We then also have Stuart, who was someone who had always been fit all his life. And then life happens. You have kids, you get promoted, you get a more desk-based job, and suddenly one day you look up and you don't recognise what you're seeing because you're not that person. You're the fit person who's been active all your life. But he knew enough was enough, and he worked with Coach Demi, which I will talk about in just a second. But that decision for him to go, no, enough is enough, he knew he needed a kickstart, and he just wanted that accountability to make sure he did it. And he lost, again, 11 kilograms of body fat in 12 weeks. He got back to running and was feeling stronger and fitter than he had before. And he's still now smashing it. He's actually really got into his running and events that he's doing, as quite often happens. We start off with, say, a physique goal, and then we end up with performance goals. So he regularly gives us updates of what he's up to, and it's brilliant to see. And then you'll see here, as I spoke about the belief side of things. So this is a lady I'm currently working with who said that the biggest win that she'll take from the program is knowing that she's always been capable of being strong, but doubted herself. But now she's pushing herself in with the support and realised that she is capable, and it's unlocked that side for her, which also helps with, I believe, when we're physically stronger, we're mentally stronger. There is a link there because we feel we can take more things on. And again, clients have said that exact same thing. So who this framework is for. So obviously we've said about over 40 because certain factors come into play there. And it's whether you are training or trying to train. A lot of people come in and they've tried, whether it's exercise classes or they beast themselves for a short amount of time and then they just can't be consistent with it. Or some people have been training for 2 years pretty consistently, but just not getting any progressions. And then they're feeling in that plateau and they're feeling really stuck. And then the main one as well is just life getting in the way. Kids, travel for work, desk jobs, just life, that the busyness that it brings for us. So you don't need to be starting from zero. You don't need to be a professional athlete. Anywhere in between these is completely fine to start and get going with this framework. So looking at the why specifically over 40s that this will work for is because a lot of fitness advice is from fitness influencers who are, say, 21 years old. They have the best of intentions, but they just don't understand real life yet. We've all been there. I know when I was 21, my attitude toward training and how I would train other people has completely changed now. Now I get it. I am 40. I understand my clients and what they need, what I would want as well. So why doing more doesn't work over 40, because by doing more, by being told you've got to be more intense, you've got to just train extra, you've just got to commit, you've got to suck it up, all these things are not helpful, because when we try and do that, you're going to get diminishing returns. You're going to get injuries, or you might just burn out because you're not a professional athlete. The gym isn't your life. You have to go smash it at meetings, or you have to run around and be a parent, be a partner. You've got so many different roles that just throwing all your energy into one thing is never going to work. So doing more is not the answer. So by doing more, you get less recovery, and recovery is so important, especially when you're 40 or over. One of my clients, Nina, actually recently discovered the benefits of rest days. I put rest days in for her and she was a bit nervous about them. Then when she had them, she said, oh, do you know what? I could lift so much heavier the next day and I'm really feeling the benefit. So having that recovery, really key. More stress and responsibility, as I hinted on before. So work, family, other obligations are going to impact mood, hormones and everything. So understanding that as well. Old injuries, gone are the days when you could lie on someone's floor and go to sleep and wake up and be fine the next day. Now you have a different pillow and your neck's creaked and you've got a bad back. So we need to work around those things. Old injuries, like knee injuries that you got when you were younger playing, I'm going to say rugby because that's my sport, but football, hockey, any of those things that can creep up on us. And then that confusing advice, because it can be when you're hearing someone say just do this and you go, well, this isn't working for me, it can feel frustrating. So having someone that gets that, and once it clicks in your mind about it's not the you're not the problem, the approach is the problem, and then suddenly when we understand that, you're not only going to get better results, but you're just going to feel so much better as well. This is Demi that I mentioned, one of our coaches, and she embodies that. That's actually, believe it or not, her on the left and on the right. She did her own transformation, but making sure, like one of her feedbacks here, extremely patient with this aching body. So we don't want to beast anyone, and nor should you want to beast yourself. You want to build up and make sure that you're progressing in the right way around any niggles. Then, so over to our Strong Over 40 framework. These 5 things are going to be really important to making sure this is something that sticks. So our Strong Start Audit, this one is so important for making sure that it's going to be really realistic and achievable. So you're looking at exactly what you are going to be able to do. So it's your starting point, where you're at right now. We do things like movement assessments. So we're making sure that you're doing the correct thing for you and where you're at right now. A lot of people fail because they don't do this phase enough, and they'll suddenly commit to 5 days a week, when actually if you did that audit properly, you'd realise you can only train twice a week or 3.5 hours or whatever it is. So you're setting yourself up for success by making sure this audit is really accurate and you can commit to what you're putting down that you can do. Then we have our Strongest Fat training method. So one of my best ways of describing this is to ask yourself, are you exercising or are you training? Now, a lot of people go and they'll throw weights around and they'll sweat and they'll go for a run, but unless you are training progressively and consistently, you're not going to see those results. So we make sure, and you'll want to make sure, that you have that consistency in the routines that you're doing, not chopping and changing between different things, doing movements, doing them well, progressing when you are ready, and making sure you're using that progressive overload. You're going to see a lot more results that way, really committing to a block of time on it, than you are if you're just chopping and changing all the time. Then real life nutrition system. So again, if you've tried loads and loads of diets, you'll know they don't work. There's a start point, there's an end point, and then you go back to normal, especially if you have to suffer. So having a more flexible nutrition model where you will allow for the week rather than a strict daily budget, if you'd like to call it. We call it targets. So you're targeting to make sure you have enough protein, and you want to have that flexibility where you can have a glass of wine at the weekend, you can have pizza night with the kids, you can travel realistically with work at airports and grab foods without feeling like you've need to start again because you haven't committed to this strict diet, because strict just doesn't work if you're overly restricted. Then you're looking at your accountability and support cycle. So for us, what we do is we have weekly coaching calls, weekly check-ins, because it's keeping those tailored and tracked responses. So you're looking at what's going on and asking about what's working, how you're finding it, and then making sure you're progressing in the right areas with that. And accountability is huge. So obviously we have that through coaching, but if you're doing it yourself, just having somebody that you're accountable to is going to make this journey so much easier. If you find that you can go, I'll do it tomorrow, and you push it and you keep pushing it, you need that accountability. You need someone who is going to hold you to account, who's going to remind you of the goals that you've set, why you're wanting to do it in the first place, and adjust things, adjust the plan if needed. And then finally, the Strong Over 40 Elite. So this is where you've done it for a period of time and now it's just your lifestyle. So whilst your goals, I was talking about the clients earlier, goals tend to be whether it's weight loss, whether it's building muscle, you'll tend to turn these then to performance, and suddenly, actually, I'm feeling really great, I'm going to go run a Tough Mudder, or I'm feeling great, do you know what, I'm going to try and get a pull-up, I've never got one before, I'm going to target that. So having those goals and having just who you are and it's part of lifestyle is when that becomes the over 40 elite. There's a few examples here. I won't go through all of them, but linking to those different phases in here. So I mentioned about the movement assessments. So making sure that we know exactly where you are when you're starting. So had a bad knee. So it's working around prehab and rehab and what movements were possible within that. Again, around shifts. So if you're doing shift work, you might be super tired the next day. So you need to adapt it. It might be a walk instead of expecting to go and beast yourself in the gym. And then the making sure you're progressing. So measuring those weights, making sure that they are going up and in the right direction as well. And then things about the nutrition here and accountability that is so important. And then even to the point, some people do 3 months and then they want to know, they want more. So, and I love this one. Thanks, Kat, for being a champion for midlife women out there working hard to keep strong. So yeah, absolutely loving this feedback, and hopefully it's inspiring for you to see what is possible and what you can do as well. So again, this is inspiration time. So these are all people we have worked with who have done this framework and who have absolutely smashed it. Now, if you want help building your Strong Over 40 plan, this is the next step for you. So you're going to complete the application. So you click the link in the YouTube description. You'll fill out a short form. It takes between 2 and 5 minutes. We'll review it and see if we have follow-up questions, if it's going to be a fit. Then we'll book in a consultation call where we'll have 45 minutes and we'll come up with a plan for you and walk through your coaching options with that. And it's no pressure. Once you're on that call, it genuinely has to be a fit both ways. We have our clients absolutely love it. And part of that is that success of that first call, saying exactly what it is that you want, but it has to be a fit both sides in order for it to work. So link in description, fill in the form, and we'll be in touch within 24 hours and I will reach out to arrange that call. So that is it. That's everything you should need to know to go from our Strong Over 40 framework, and you can go and smash it. Thanks for watching.